What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience Podcast. Thank you so much for coming back, for listening, to be part of the podcast, being part of the Capoeira community. Keep training, supporting your school, and being here just to play Capoeira, learn Capoeira, and listen from more Capoeiristas around the world. And, keep supporting your school, keep training, and doesn't matter what it is. And support the Capoeira community. That's what makes us a community. So today, I decided to bring back two of my good brothers from different mom in different countries in different capoeira communities, because it's a topic. For some reason, it came to my head. I think for probably like a few months ago, and then I forgot about the conversation, and then I brought it back because I really want to talk about this. And it's funny how people in the Hada get so confused with this, and they start before I mention what is the topic. They start one way, and they always fall back to the to the other one. So we're going to be talking about Palma de Bimba versus Palma de Terreiro. So it's a little confusing sometimes. So I decided to bring back my good brothers, Professor Congo and Professor Soquete. How you guys doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing,
Good
Soquete?
to be back. Great to see you both.
Yes. It's nice to have you guys back, and I always bring you guys back because I really love sharing knowledge, all of us together, and coming back to different topics. And there's many other topics that we'll keep talking about it. And then it's funny that I haven't met Congo in person yet for the last, what is it, 5 years now, probably
No
five
man,
6 years,
2013.
8 years. Jesus, 8 years. Wow, that's fast. So but Sokechi, I met Sokechi, bless you. I met Sokechi once in Chicago, and he was awesome, man. He was awesome. It was pretty cool to get to see you in person, and eventually we'll meet all together again.
Thank you, Rosal.
Yeah. Nice. So what do you guys have about this topic? Let's talk first about each, and then we compare them. Now, let's talk about the most common, Parma Bimba.
Okay.
What do you guys have about Parma Bimba?
Yeah, the thing for me about Palma de Bimba, it was yeah. If you look at regional, so where it came from, Mestre Bimba,
Yeah.
a lot of groups that were influenced by him already copied his way of clapping
Yeah.
and going down. But coming to the, let's say, the capoeira boom experience, when a lot of capoeira went all over the world, there some groups kept it, some groups never heard of it, because you have to see where they came from, if you can
Yeah.
say. So going down direct lineage of Master Bimba, or in contact, I would say rigorously with Master Bimba's academy, those groups kept the Palma de Bimba. But a lot of people who were like, okay, Regional is of Bimba, they kept on copying the Palma de Bimba.
Yeah.
That's basically in a nutshell.
What do you think, Sokechi?
My experience with Palma de Bimba came like 3.5, nearly 4 years into my capoeira experience. So I always started with the other palmas, and then when I started learning Palma de Bimba, it was a challenge because finding rhythms and learning rhythms is a challenging thing for most people, especially when you're trying to sing with it as well.
Yeah.
And the Palma de Bimba, for most people, is an easier one for them to sing along to, especially with people outside of Brazil who maybe haven't grown up with so much music in their home and in their culture. So yeah, it's definitely, the Palma de Bimba is easier for most people, and so like you said, I think that's why a lot of people fall back to it, because having the lack of syncopation just lends itself to be a little bit easier. Each clap is on a beat in that set of 4.
Yeah. And it's obvious that the name Palma de Bimba comes from Bimba, right? But do you guys have any information how actually Mestre Bimba came up with the three claps instead of having still Palma de Terreiro. No.
No, actually. I tried to find that, but
It's a little
it's
tricky. It's a little tricky to find the
yeah,
information.
yeah. And to Soquete, I was the other way. I always did Palma de Bimba, and then once went to a group. I will mention the group's name later. And then also I hear Palma de Terreiro, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah,
fall back to Palma de Bimba.
yeah, yeah. And then the funny
Or
thing
I
too,
don't sing and I clap.
with Palma de Terreiro. Yeah,
Yeah.
same. I don't sing because my brain started like crossing cables and it's like, wait a minute. It's a I don't know where to go when it's Palma de Terreiro. It's like the saying of like you can chew gum and walk at the same time. Is it something like that?
Mhm.
So-
Yeah, when I started, my first group was Palma de Terreiro all day, and
oh,
I'd
that's
never
funny.
heard of Palma de Bimba.
Yeah.
So when you're learning to clap and sing, it doesn't matter what the first rhythm is. That's what is going to end up being your default.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I enjoyed that for a while, and then when I met Mestre Cicatriz and started training with him, it was all Palma de Bimba. It was Salvento Grande de Bimba, and it took forever for me to get into the three claps
That's funny.
and
Huh.
out of the Palma de Terreiro. And
Yeah.
now when I go back to Palma de Terreiro, then it's a challenge again. So uh, it's one of those things. A really interesting thing with finding that rhythm is I heard a mestre once say that it's important to relax your arms and relax your hands and relax
Yeah.
your shoulders into the clap, because especially when it's a challenge, you're kind of like and the
Yeah.
more tense you are, the more difficult it is to find that syncopation. So
Very
when
good
he
point.
said that, it was at an event, and I was like, okay, I gave it a good relax and I let everything kind of go and just softened my hands. The palma became much more easy.
Yeah.
But it's definitely whatever you start with is going to be your default, unless you switch over to something else, and then that could be your default if you're not using the other. But it's valuable to have familiarity with both or comfort with both.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And I agree. I also started with Palma de Bimba. And then when they're back in Venezuela, we had the two biggest group was Raízes do Brasil and Sensala before Capoeira Brazil came to the picture. And it was the same. Raízes do Brasil was a very Abada influence. They came out of Abada. And then we used to use the Palma de Bimba. And then when we used to go to the Sensalas Hada, they used Palma de Terreiro back then. And I was like, this is so confusing. It's like what the first time I came across with Palma de Terreiro, and it's like what they are clapping with samba claps. And then eventually with the time I learned the influence of different aspects. Well, so now coming back or switching it up to Palma de Terreiro, what kind of information do you guys have about Palma de Terreiro? So, Kachele, what do you have?
So the concept of Palma de Terreiro goes all the way back to Candomblé and Dança de Coco, Samba de Roda. So it's definitely a more deeply rooted and historical African rhythm.
Yeah.
Again, it is syncopated, so that's where people have their trouble with it. But like Candomblé, when you go to Candomblé events, there's a Terreiro for the Candomblé events, which in Terreiro means yard, right?
Yeah.
So I went to an event in Brazil a couple of years ago in 2019, and that's exactly how it was. All the drums were set up onto a stage, and everybody was celebrating the event in a big yard in the backyard of somebody's house, like a compound.
Yeah.
And so those rhythms are used specifically from that history. And when it came to playing capoeira, I guess it was just adopted as the original version of how to clap.
Yeah. Yeah. Capoeira has a lot of influence from Candomblé. And then, and again, for if people are listening to this and first time listening to this is not about their religion. It's just the influence from their religion. And if you study a little bit deeper into capoeira, you're going to find a bunch of different kind of influences into capoeira. So capoeira is pretty much a melting pot of a lot of influences that made it very original. Congo, what do you have?
Well, almost the same. Like Palma de Terreiro has the confusion from its source. A lot of people the source can be samba, samba de roda, or
Yeah,
candomblé, the part, or dança de coco. But coco also calls it palma de traieiro, but it's the
huh.
same rhythm. And from capoeira, a lot of people say, yeah, but it's the original way. If you look, it used to be clapped on São Bento Grande de Angola, and
Oh, nice.
then
Also,
you will
capoeira.
go to like, okay, is it Angola rhythm, regional rhythm? But looking in the at the rodas of Mestre Moraes, if you will say, okay, São Bento Grande de Angola, they don't clap
Huh.
because they have to be alert to the music. But then you will say, okay, let's say if it's regional, then you will see that the influence to use palma de terreiro in capoeira came from Rio de Janeiro, and most influence group that was influencing the, let's say, the future was because of Senzala, Mestre Tony Vargas. They
Nice.
were also promoting Palma de Terreiro a lot because they use Palma de Terreiro. So that's how
Yeah.
Palma de Terreiro went through going on to the other groups. So if
Yeah.
you have like more Senzala influence, you will get Palma de Terreiro. And you have,
Yeah.
let's say, other influence, you get Palma de Bimba. But there are groups that use Palma de Bimba for jogo de regional, and other group if they play other, they use terreiro if some mention Grande Angola is playing. So there are groups that use both.
Yeah.
That I did was in Sweden, was in the group of Messi Stain Senzala. That's how I also playing. We're clapping Palma de Terreiro. So I'm not saying I'm clapping. And also when the game speeded up, they switched to Palma de Bimba.
Oh, confusing.
Yeah.
Always so confused and that whole thing. It's like, yeah, always very confused. And
Yeah.
then you say, would you or have you guys ever seen São Bento Grande Regional with Palma de Terreiro? Have you guys seen that combination?
Mm, yes, there are groups like Soquete says. There are groups that are solely use Palma de Terreiro. So even if it's fast game, hard game, they use that Palma, but they go in a faster pace.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, for example, like don don din don din don don din don din, and then they use the Palma de Terreiro. Have you guys ever heard that part? They recap the rhythm and the beating bell. For example, like to my point is like we usually listen to uh Samento Grande Regional with Palma de Bimba, right? And then we usually also listen Samento Grande Angola with Palma de Terreiro. So have you guys seen anything crossed or like the opposite? If that makes sense, if that question makes sense.
As far as crossing goes, or the use of different rhythms, I've never seen any group playing Salbento Grande de Bimba, Dong Sting, Dong Dong Ding,
Yeah,
and clapping Palma de Terreiro.
same.
I have seen groups using Salbento Grande de Angola,
Yeah.
Ding Dong Dong, with both palmas.
Oh, that's funny.
And there's a lot of argument is which one is right, which one is
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
And some of the things I was looking at last night were sort of indicating that the syncopated beat is a bit more of a challenge. So when people have come from Brazil to outside of Brazil and they're trying to teach people who don't have as much music in their culture.
Yeah.
And so the teachers have basically just sort of defaulted to Palma de Bimba because it's easier to get people to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And is the same information I found was like Palma de Terreiro comes from candomblé and samba. There's another few influences from Palma de Terreiro to other cultural expressions in Brazil, but the most common was candomblé. And then it's really cool to see again some influence from candomblé to capoeira. And coming back to what Congo said earlier is of Mestre Tony Vargas singing the Bacha Palma de Terreiro para matar a tradição aqui no Rio de Janeiro. That's the only the first time I heard he was coming from Rio de Janeiro because I know never been in Bahia, and I might be wrong, but I know from different sources that Palma de Bimba is mostly used in Bahia. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
I need to rectify a mistake. It's not. It's I just said Sweden, but the group of Mestre Stein is from Denmark. Just to be clear.
Wait, say that again.
No, because I just said like Mestre Stein from Senzala.
Yeah.
His group is from Denmark, not Sweden. Just rectifying that mistake I just said.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Then it's really cool to see the information. I never seen it crossed either. What do you think, Congo? Have you ever seen anything crossed like that?
No, like Soquete said, the only crossing I saw is from Palma de Bimba. If a group is not doing Palma de Bimba, every clap is Palma de Bimba. It's like, okay, this one, but when it's there are groups that do Samento Grande de Angola, they do Terreiro, and when they switch to regional, they do Palma de Bimba.
Okay.
I didn't see that people do Terreiro on the region on the real on the Samento Grande de Regional.
Oh, okay. Yeah, same. I never seen that crossed, and it's funny. Like we mentioned before, that is how people always fall back, even in samba, even playing samba, and then you start the Palma de Terreiro, and then you gotta remind them it's Palma de Terreiro because everybody falls back to the 1 2 3 from Bimba.
Yeah, interesting what Sokechi also said about the musicality in your culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like most
Totally.
Europe countries use Palma de Bimba because it's easier. Not
Yeah.
to say that Europe don't have rhythm, but it's easier for them to catch that because Europe has like a basic rhythm, but
Okay.
South America is a mix of a lot of rhythms. You can have one country has like 7 different styles of playing music.
Yeah.
So you're used to switching up your rhythms. Like for example, Curacao, we have our own. Let's start. We have merengue, salsa, bachata, all from other countries, and we have tambu, mazurka, seu. So our own rhythm, and we have ritmo combina. So you're used to mixing it up. If you come from a place that okay, we eat rice and beans
Yeah.
every day. The day you eat rice and chicken, you're like, what's this?
Yeah.
But if you used to Monday rice and beans, Wednesday fries, Tuesday spaghetti, so you're used to
To the variation. Yeah.
different stuff. And
Yeah.
South American countries are used to a lot of different musicality influence. Even
That's true. That's
America
true.
influenced by the US sounds. So people from this side of the world, let's say that, are easier to learn different type of rhythm and keep them.
Yeah.
So that was something very, very, very important that Sokechi said. It depends how your base is, how you can go forward.
That's true. That's totally true. How is
How
it?
easy you can go forward. Sorry.
That's true. Yeah. How is it the rhythms base where you grew up, Sokechi?
The rhythm bass, as in musicality in
Yeah.
culture in Australia,
Yeah.
it's much lower and lesser, and definitely less percussive based and
Okay.
more like other instrument based. And then the other thing with musicality is that, like, if you go to South America, the number of like houses in a city that would have instruments in the house where people practice and play actual
Huh.
instruments
Yeah.
is much greater than somewhere like Europe or somewhere like Australia or New Zealand. So not just having lots of different rhythms and stuff in access in the music that people listen to, but also in their actual practice of creating music and sound. So
Yeah.
I would say that Australia is quite lacking in that kind of regard, and it's always going to kind of default to more of a rock and roll kind of influence of music than anything else.
Yeah. Like guitars and drums,
Yeah.
like rock drums. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Venezuela, we have so many influence. Like Congo said, we have so much. We had the the most known like samba. Salsa, bachata, merengue, and then Venezuela traditions we have something called joropo, which is the arp and then some couple of little drums and the is a 4 chord little guitar. We call it cuatro.
Yeah.
And
We have that too.
oh yeah, cool.
We
I
have
didn't know that.
Venezuela influence on the island, so
Yeah. Oh, cool. I didn't know you guys have joropo there.
you guys have gaita as well, right?
Yeah. So gaita is like I don't really know where gaitas come from, but I know that it's from a specific state in Venezuela. So it's very cool to see, like you guys said, the influence of rhythms from how we grew up and how that helps with capoeira. And is really cool to see all the combination. Again, it's a melting pot of many things.
Yeah.
How do you guys teach those kind of stuff to your students? How do you pass it? Do you explain to them like, hey, Palma Bimba comes from here, Palma Terreiro comes from here, like pretty much the same discussion that we had here with your students? Soquete, what do you think?
Okay, interestingly, yesterday while I was teaching a music class, we were sort of there was only like 6 or 7 students, so we did a berimbau specific music class where the first 35-40 minutes was all just berimbau basics and getting progressions of making sounds. So I'm going to use what we did yesterday and then also talk about the palma that we've neglected. I feel bad for the old 2 clap, right? That's definitely another part of the capoeira experience.
Yeah,
and so when I had a bunch of people who had never held a berimbau before, and so we have to start with like making the chiado sounds and then making the ding and making the dong, and then as we progress through, you keep adding a sound, right? And this is kind of lends itself to what you were saying about why possibly Mestre Bimba had started with the 3 clap. And it goes back, I think, to the 2 clap, because if we're going to play Sabet de Angola, just regular Angola, dong ding, right? Dong ding, that traditionally, like Congo was saying, doesn't have a clap, because the mestres are like, you need to listen to the lyrics, you need to listen to the music, and you need to lend your harmonies to the chorus. That's more important for the flow and for the game. And then when you move to Sobeto Pequeno, and then you're going ding dong, ding dong, you're just inverting those sounds, right? So, and then that's where your 2 clap starts to come in. So as it sort of progresses up, you're getting that 2 clap. And then when you go to Salbento Grado de Angola, you're getting that dong, ding, ding. You're adding an extra sound, right? And so then this is where the Palma de Terreiro exists in that. And it's important to think about where the 1 starts and for the beat. So it's more of a ding, dong, ding, as instead of dong, ding, ding. So the 3 clap for the Palma de Terreiro exists in that. And then when you keep adding more intensity to the music, then that's where I think the Bimba 3rd clap would have come in, because you've got your 2 clap is 3, 4, 3, 4, and then they've just gone 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. So
cool.
As far as progression of intensity goes, the music already kind of leads itself in that direction. And then I think that 3rd clap just gives that a sharper, more kind of powerful intention to what drives your games then. But I was sort of, when we got through all the instrument stuff, it was like, okay, so we're going to play ding dong, and then we're going to play ding dong dong, and then we're going to go dong dong ding, right? So the progression and inversion of sound, sort of from the first Angola rhythm all the way up to Sobeto Grado de Bimba, is always like an addition of an extra sound or an inversion of an extra sound. And so to add it, just that last extra clap, kind of, there's a sensibility to it.
That's pretty cool. It's really cool. I never seen it that way of the timing with numbering the timing. It's really cool, man. It's really cool. And that how you show your students, you teach to your students?
Yes.
Nice.
It's definitely something I've been putting more and more attention into. Understanding where the 1 is really important. And I remember years ago when like Mestre Cicatriz would do like a makulele workshop, and he'd be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and everyone else in the class was like, where he was counting 1, everyone else was counting 4, and it worked for the choreography, but it blew my mind. I was like, how is that a 4 and this is a 1?
Yeah.
But it's something I'm getting better and better and better at understanding.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier, I think, for people to learn if they can grasp that 1 through 4.
Yeah. And it comes back again to and it's funny how the way of people learning is completely different. Like for example, I learned dancing by copying and listening. They don't tell you like being like, okay, well, you know, left, right, okay, now 1 2 forward, 1 2 back, 1 2 forward. It's like, dude, just watch me. Watch me and do it and copy. And then now listen to the beat. Here's the beat. Oh, okay, so now you move your feet this way, and then you arms this way. Say, and then from my knowledge, I know the African traditions passes that way. It's verbally, right? Is something that you watch me doing it, and then you do it, and I correct you and see if it looks like how I'm doing it. And then if we go to all capoeira workshops, masters they explain less, and you just got to copy, and then that helps you to kind of create intuition, I guess, of copying and actually paying attention. And now that you mentioned how to break it down in numeric, is very logical thinking, and it's really cool to see how the adaptation of different things for people to pass it, to pass it to the next generation. And it's really cool to see as a teachers how we dive deep into a topic for us to be able to explain it better, and to because now you know the rhythm probably the same way I learn, and be like, you copy, do it, and I correct you without being like, okay, this 1 2 3, 1 2 3, this is the rhythm. And then now you know that part. Now let's see another part and see how I can teach it too. It's really cool to see that. And again, everything is connected. It's really, really cool. Congo, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You
Go
let
ahead,
Soquete
Soquete, go ahead.
finish?
I was going to say, yeah. So that's the concept of osmosis, right? The more
Yeah.
we are surrounded by something, the more we can absorb it. So
Yeah,
again, it
yeah.
lends itself to the idea of, if you're come from a culture that has more musicality, then you're absolutely going to absorb it. And that's how I learned from,
Yeah.
my first teacher, just saying like this,
Y-
and then you
Yeah.
just did it. And
Yeah.
it took a challenge and it took time. But then as I progressed through my experience in capoeira, the more I want to dive in and the more I want to do that research and kind of learn and understand
Yeah.
how and why.
Yeah. Do you
That's just
think?
my thing. But like I say, I'm logic based.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think we should also keep or preserve that of being like, learn also how to copy by watching?
Yeah, learning styles are important, right? Some
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
learn just from watching. Some
Yeah.
people learn
True.
from
Very,
doing.
very true.
Some
Yeah.
people learn from hearing the details. And I was having a conversation with someone yesterday saying that sometimes that you can give a detail in one specific way, and 3 people in the room are like, and 4 others are like, I don't get it. And then you give
Yes.
exactly the same detail, but with a different metaphor and a different spin on it. And then you got someone in
Yes.
the room going, oh,
Oh, that's what it is.
but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
effectively the same information. So
Yeah.
it's valuable for people to get the information in a variety of different ways, and just doing it, that osmosis concept, is
Yeah.
really, really important.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Congo, what do you think?
Well, back to how I learned is literally like watch me do it and copy.
Yeah.
It's a South American way, just
Yeah.
because like on the Curacao as well, the best dancers never took class.
Yeah.
Like on
That's
Curacao, the
true.
best dancers were just home on Sunday. Mom was done cleaning the house, or the
And
neighbor
dancing,
just put
listening
a big
music.
speaker, and
Yeah.
everybody starts dancing, and your mom grabs you by your arm. Okay, let's dance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey,
Exactly
don't
how I
put your
grew up.
foot there, or I'll step on it." Okay, and then that's how we learn. So when I started teaching in Europe, because I used to live in
Yeah.
Europe, I'm like, no, it's like this. And I was like, and the rhythm didn't go. I'm like, why? It's normal.
Yeah,
Watch
yeah,
and
yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
And
because that's how
it's
we grew up.
it's because our culture is that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Till this
That's
day, I
funny,
have
man.
problems with when people start like when my salsa friend starts teaching, like, yeah, there's Euro people like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, okay, don't let me not hear, just see
Let
what
me
you do.
listen. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, because we are used to linking rhythms with each other.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
used to counting.
That's a good analogy. Linking the
So,
different
but I
different
do
aspects.
want to
That's pretty cool.
learn how to teach because that's a problem I have still. I don't know how to teach with the numbers because, and now we have a lot of European influence on the island, like military come on the island and their kids want to train capoeira. So they are number based, let's
Yeah,
say, and we
logic.
are
Have to be
rhythm
logic.
based.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, they're logical and we are just rhythm free.
yeah, yeah.
So that's the thing. But now the only thing I do also when I clap, like Soquete did 3, 4, 1. I do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And like when you hear the birimbau do this, and then you do your count.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not logical counting, but it's feeling counting. Let's put it that way.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
So that's how I teach my palmas and palma de terreiro. Literally, I don't teach because I never got it in class. But maybe I'm hear how the conversation is going. Maybe it's a good thing to let my students also get the feeling of Palma de Terreiro, so
Yeah.
they cannot blame me if they don't have the rhythm.
It's cool, and that's why I wanted to bring you guys too, because and that's why I love bringing you guys to having all kind of conversations about around capoeira, because three of us grew up in completely different capoeira community. We grew up in different countries, and we came from different aspects, and all of us have like different from different places. Is really cool to see how three of us grew up in a completely different aspect, and we still learn the same stuff. And is but we just learn in different ways, and it's really cool to see that. And coming back to the logic part, is same like when I explain uh sequences in my class. It's like, well, okay, you did the sequence. Now to go to the other side, you want one jinga, two jingas. And he's like, no, man, you just jinga, just feel it. Just jinga and then go to the other side. He's like, well, but it's a jinga left, jinga right, and then 1, 2, 3 jingas. And he's like, man, you fry my brain right now. I gotta think too much. But it's really cool to see how people learn from different aspects in a logical way, and then just the feeling way, like Congo said. How else do you guys teach those kind of rhythms to your students? Do you tell them like how, like, listen capoeira music? That's how I look
Now
bro.
I do tell them to listen to music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I tell them to always when they. That's the thing, like you said, it's freedom. So I listen to the beating bomb. Like, okay, try to listen and listen when the first clap starts. Like and the good thing is a lot of students do pay attention, so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
goes. But the numbering, that that is something I need to learn myself to
Same,
make
same.
it easier for the students to learn.
Yeah, yeah, same. Because not everybody learns the same, and I can learn logically, but I learn by watching first. But there are some people that learn logically. It's like, okay, I need step 1, 2, 3, and then in that order, so I can see the whole picture, and it's really cool to see different type of learners. How do you teach those rhythms too, Sokechi?
Again, like we do a music class every Saturday, a
Yeah,
good solid hour. So I guess for the most part, there's a lot of osmosis, right? People just absorbing it.
yeah,
And if we've got 10 people in the room or 12 people in the room, there's 4 atabakis, there's 4 panderos, there's 3 or 4 berimbau's, and then there's an agogo. So again, just having time. So if we play a rhythm and we play it for 10-15 minutes before we stop and swap instruments, then you've always got someone else to be a metronome. If you
yeah,
lose the rhythm, there's someone else beside you. You can visually watch them, then you can start to find the rhythm back. And we do different things to bring in the concept of singing as well. That's a really important thing. But but just having that time to relax into it and getting the repetition in again and
Yeah.
again and again, whether it's an instrument, whether it's a clap, whether it's doing either of those things with singing. There's a good drill that I like where you just have everyone stand up and then they can walk their feet 2, 3,
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah. I saw
4,
that
and
with
then it's
Mr.
like,
Aitana.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's helpful because then you can start to feel that you're creating two different rhythms,
Yeah.
one with your feet and one with your hands, and then to take an extra layer on it to then vocalize the bidimba rhythm at the same time. So
Yeah.
then it's like what you were saying, chewing gum and walking, or scratching your head and rubbing your tummy. Your
Yeah.
brain starts to plasticize a little and learns to
Yes.
fire in the ways that it needs to fire, and that's
Yeah.
a really valuable thing too, just for the brain's development and the brain's activity.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that. It's because again, it's different ways of, because now by experimenting all those different topics, you can kind of see and understanding how your students can learn too, and be like, oh, this guy is getting it this way. Oh, this guy is getting it this way, and just like tapping into different ways of learning, so to see how they learn, and then that way is another learning process for us too, because that way we can see the whole everybody. Like, this is, again, I tell this to my students, it's completely different when you step on this side, when you gotta lead 5-10 people, when you are on the other side, that when you are the following, is completely different perspective.
It
And
sure is.
yeah, and what do you guys think about, like, why capoeira uses claps? Why claps are the first place?
It's the instrument you're born with. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, your voice and your hands.
Yeah.
So let's say if I don't know, it's a speculation, but not every roda you can like, you're like, hey, get some instruments. If you want to play, if you're somewhere and a lot of capoeiristas are there, you need to create a rhythm, you need to create sound to create the energy.
Yeah.
So if you cannot have a atabaque, a pandero, you will use clap to strengthen the ashe, the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. Nice. What do you think, Sokachi? Why we use claps in capoeira?
So I did some like research last night, and then one of the things I came across in was like an explanation of the history of clapping and where it originated
cool.
from and stuff.
Nice.
So I didn't read too much into it because I was like, it was going to be a side. I wish I had now because it was interesting information. But the concept was that clapping was originally came from like a religious concepts, and the idea that you're increasing the noise that you're making to get the attention of the gods.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh.
So whether there was
Interesting.
like ovation and clapping and things like that was to invoke the interest and draw the attention of the gods. So if you think about how in capoeira and drawing the attention of the orishas
Yeah.
to bring energy and ashe to a
Yes.
hada,
Yes.
then having that clapping is definitely a way to get more attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And if you look it up on different African traditions and African cultural expressions, they also add a lot of claps. And I think that probably comes from what you just said, Sokechi, on getting the attention from the gods or whatever entity, and to attract that energy to the area where they are. And it's really cool to see so many influences in capoeira. It's really cool to see how this
Like
works.
on Curacao, we have this dance called tambu.
Okay.
It's like literally the drum is the leading, but when, let's say, when the beat drops, how they say in the modern world,
Yeah.
the clapping comes in very hard, and then the people will dance their heart out.
Damn, that's
So
so cool, man.
it's creating that ashe, or it's like letting the orishas giving more energy to the dancers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like also it's back to how people work, you can say.
Yeah.
If you are at a party and nobody has energy, the party ends early.
Yes.
If
Yeah,
everybody has
that's
energy, if you build up that energy, you're like, oh man, already 3 in the morning.
so
Why do
quick.
we have to stop?
Yeah.
So it can, that part of the Orisha is very interesting. The one I have is just because of my culture. The
Yeah.
clapping is also, it winds people up. It gives you energy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. Anything else that you guys want to add to the conversation? How to learn rhythms, or any other advice to learn rhythms and pay attention to rhythm and how to catch a little bit quicker.
I heard
Here I
one
have to
cute
learn
little
from you
thing. I saw this cute little thing when I was doing some research last night about a way to help people to understand or find the rhythm for Palma de Terreiro, and it was to clap to the syllables of strawberry.
Oh,
So I don't
how's
know if
that?
it really works, but the idea would be like strawberry, strawberry, strawberry. And I was like,
That's pretty cool.
okay, I'm gonna try that. That was the first time I tried it just now.
That's so funny. That's pretty cool.
But that's, it's like having an extra in the back of a movie who's moving their mouth and not doing anything. You don't want to
Yeah.
be standing in the hot desk mouthing strawberry to yourself. It would be funny. Another thing with the names of Palma de Terreiro, it's also called Palma Praieira, like the beach
Oh.
palma. And
Huh.
some of the stuff was saying that comes from the Coco Jihada in Pernambuco and stuff. Does anyone have any more information about where the name Palma Praieira came from?
No, first time. No, I didn't. The other information I found is nothing from that. That's pretty cool. Okay, we gotta come back to that one. Nice.
Need to do more research.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, the point of this is just to, like, you share whatever we
Yeah.
information we have. So
Or
now,
the listeners can do the research for us.
exactly.
Get
And
people's
if you
feedback.
guys, if anyone listening to this or watching the videos, just let us know any information that you have and comments, or reach out and see, hey, I found this information, and see, because we love learning. And as you listen before, we're finding ways how to explain what we already know, because sometimes just verbally is not going to help, because all of us learn different ways. What do you think, Congo? Any tips to how to learn those rhythms?
Yeah,
Maybe
like I
listen to
said,
music.
like I said, I have to learn the logical way from you guys, because I'm the freedom way, the
Yeah.
Curacao way. Listen and watch and try to copy, and there we go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming back, and let's wrap it up here. What are you guys' social media to wrap it up?
Mine is Congo Capoeira. That's my personal one, and the one from the Capoeira group is Capoeira Curacao.
Nice.
And Facebook, same thing. Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Soquete, which one is yours?
My Facebook stuff is Soquete Capoeira, and on Instagram I have Soquete Capoeira and Yoga, because I've been doing a lot of stretching stuff lately and getting into
Nice.
that as well.
Keep going.
And then Kadara Capoeira Toronto or Capoeira in Scarborough. You'll find the rest of us everywhere else.
Nice. And you can follow the podcast on and on Instagram, Podcast Capoeira. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. And then, man, we have so much information on the podcast. So go there, check it out, and yeah, just share it with everybody. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming back to the podcast. There's another few topics that I would love to talk to you guys too, and let's keep in touch.
Yes, let's do that.
Awesome. Can't wait. Always a pleasure to be on in with you guys working together.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. I'll talk to you guys. Peace. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for getting this far. Remember, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook or YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to help us and help me to get bigger numbers and bigger subscribers, so we can give more information. Okay, please, if you're listening, I know you're listening, I know you're watching, please give me a subscribe, give me a like. Okay, I know you're watching right here. for listening. All right. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening every single episode, especially the episode we just did. All right. Thank you so much. Peace.